Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rachel. Happy birthday to you. Rachel's little cake stood proudly on the table between Kent and his daughter. White chocolate with pink sugar roses on the sides, and on top a beautiful picture of a little princess girl holding a sunflower. 5 small candles brightened up the dimly lit kitchen of the small run-down apartment on this late December afternoon. After an especially hard day, Kent had picked up Rachel from her mother. He and Clara had already been moderately estranged from one another before Rachel, but they thought a child might change this and Rachel would bring them back closer together. In the end, the opposite happened, and Kent was now alone. Kent was still determined to do everything in his power to make his little princess happy, despite his own hardships. "Okay then, it's time. Blow out the candles and make a wish," he encouraged her enthusiastically. Rachel tried, but nothing more than a flickering of the flames came of it. "Come on, I know you can do it," he assured her. Kent did not want to help her blow out the candles. Rachel was a strong enough little girl to achieve this on her own. Eyes wide open, he sat in silence and watched the candles' flames flicker. And finally, with one strong gust, all of them went out at once. "Yay! You did it! I knew you can do it. I'm so proud of you," Kent applauded her. Rachel started to pound on her little child-high chair in celebration and jumped in it, with the chair itself moving slightly over the ground. She was just as happy as her father. "Close your eyes and make a wish." Kent reached under the kitchen table to get a present. White wrapping with a beautiful golden bow concealed his gift. "Happy birthday, my love," Kent whispered with his voice cracking. "I love you." His gift might not have been very expensive or fancy, but this and the cake was all he could afford. Plus, it came from heart. "Here, let me help you with this one." Kent carefully unpacked the toy. A 15-inch large teddy bear with fluffy golden fur, button eyes, and a stitched-on smile in a windowed lavender-colored box. Again, Rachel jumped of excitement. Her chair moved back and forth under her joyful rocking. She turned the box to have the teddy bear facing her and wiggled in her chair. "Let's first eat some cake, my dear. Otherwise, the teddy might get all dirty already," Kent said with a loving smile. But Rachel was having none of it. Immediately, she threw a temper tantrum, throwing around her cutlery and even her cup, which landed violently in the white chocolate cake. Kent had a hard time keeping his cool. This was supposed to be a happy ending to a stressful day, and Rachel made it hard to enjoy. "Rachel, stop it, please," he pleaded. "Let's have one little slice of the cake, and then I will give you the teddy." He sighed as Rachel adamantly continued her tantrum. Her little plastic plate was now sent flying directly towards the fridge on the left, as the angry pounding on her chair became more violent. "Rachel, stop it, now," he insisted with a raised voice. "I said we will have cake first." After a short sigh under more of Rachel's pounding, which had now moved from her chair to the kitchen table, he regained his composure. "Look, my darling, this cake is delicious and you had no dinner yet. I cut you a deal. I will take the teddy out of the box and let it sit on the kitchen table next to your plate so he can watch you eating. And when you've finished, you can cuddle with him right away." It worked only slightly. Rachel was still upset. "See? There is even a beautiful little princess girl on it. She even kinda looks like you. Do you think a princess would behave like this?" Rachel was none to be calmed down that easily, but slowly her banging on the table ceased when Kent started to unpack the teddy bear and carefully placed it next to the child high chair. After he put back Rachel's dishware, he proceeded to cut the cake, placed the piece that had the face of the princess on it on Rachel's plate, and put it on her side. At the last moment, he decided that the sugar rose on the side wall of the cake might be too hard for her to chew, and she might even choke on it, so Kent took it from the slice. And with this, the drama started anew. Rachel immediately threw her cup again and banged on the chair. She wanted that sugar rose. "Rachel, no, please, we had an agreement. You eat one slice of your birthday cake and can play with your teddy after. This is way too hard for you to chew, and I don't want you to choke on it." And there went the plate with her slice of the cake. Rachel threw it so hard into the rest of the baked goods it got smashed into smithereens. She banged on her chair as hard as she could and caused it to jump up and down from the forceful dismay until it started crackling under the amount of abuse. Her plastic fork and spoon flew across the room and hit the wall, and then the knife Kent sliced the cake with came flying towards him, nearly missing his head. And this was the straw that broke the camel's back. Kent has had enough. "Okay, you don't want to have your cake and behave like this instead? Fine, I will treat you the way you deserve then. This party is over. You're going back to your mother, young lady. I've had enough," he shouted. "I had such a hard day. I put every bit of money and effort I have into this, and I know it's not much, but you will not act like that. This is on you, Rachel." Kent jumped out of his chair and forcefully grabbed Rachel and her new teddy. Without any concern for the weather, he clumped out of his apartment and threw them onto the back seat of his scruffy white Chevrolet Impala, locked the door, and went back inside to grab his jacket, gloves, and his knitted hat. Back at the car, Kent started to cuss out Rachel even more. "You're not concerned about anything? Fine then. Let's see if you can manage to put on your seatbelt all on your own," he shouted as the car's engine roared from Kent hitting the road full throttle. He was completely done with her. Cussing all the time, he raced down the slippery roads, ignored red lights and every traffic rule there is. 20 minutes of Kent being a serious traffic hazard, he finally stopped the car. "You wanna be with Mommy? Yeah? I will bring you back to Mommy, you ungrateful little brat," he cussed through his teeth while he violently grabbed Rachel and the teddy. He wanted to be a loving father, but right now, he was all out of love and patience. What he still had, though, was the scrappy shovel in his car's trunk. Pressing Rachel and her teddy harshly against his chest, he stomped down the dark path between dead trees until he reached his destination. Road 27, Lot 8. Clara's last resting place. With a harsh movement, he slammed Rachel to the frozen ground and threw the teddy bear down next to her. "Here she is. Here is Mommy. And you know why she's here? Because of you, Rachel." Shovel in hand, he gazed at the white marble before him. Clara Durkett. Born September 28, 1986. Died December 8, 2016. A loving mom that was never to become a mother. "I'm sorry, but Rachel just won't behave. She has been a snotty little beast and threw one temper tantrum after the other. I just had to cut our party short. I know I haven't much anymore to give her, but today she was just ungrateful and misbehaved, so here we are again," he uttered. Kent put down the shovel with a deep sigh. Anger was now slowly replaced by remorse. He looked over to his right. His little princess and the teddy sat on the heap of frozen dirt he produced earlier that evening. "You know what?" he said. "I am sorry, but I just can't take any more of this misbehavior." Kent took Rachel and lowered her back into the hole in the ground, carefully placing the urn upright in between a teether, a plastic doll, and the remains of what once were a bright pink baby dress and a wooden duck on wheels, that were now complemented by the teddy bear with the fluffy golden fur and that stitched-on smile. Kent made use of his shovel again. With skillfully swung heaps of ground, he slowly but surely filled up the grave again to rebury the ashes of his daughter, just as he did every once a year on this December 8th. The epitaph left to Clarice had no birth date on it, because technically Rachel was never really born. There were only golden lettered words that read, Rachel Durkett, died December 8, 2016, a life lost before it began. After a couple of minutes of reminiscing, Ken slowly walked back down the dark alleyway, back to his scrappy car to return to his run-down apartment. He was all alone again. At least, until the next December 8th, that is.